APNU, we're the AFC and Nagamutu. Our constitution is in jeopardy. We're holding on to power for the oil money. Now after 4 years of incompetence, Bharat moved the vote of
Mr. Rajkumar, no.
But if you put them
Mr.
Charandas,
yes, yes.
Will be worse than 92. The drug one corrupt, the thief the money. Durban Park corrupt, the thief the money. The ministers corrupt, the thief the money. They live in the good life with our money. On election day, turn out in strength. We put the PPPC in government. Guyanese, beware of APNU. We're the AFC and Nagamutu. Our constitution is in jeopardy. We're holding on to power for the oil money. Now after 4 years of incompetence, Bharat moved the vote of
Mr. Rajkumar, no.
But if you put them
Mr. Charandas, yes,
will be worse than 92. The drug one corrupt, the thief the money. Durban Park corrupt, the thief the money. The ministers corrupt, the thief the money. They live in the good life with our money. On election day, turn out in strength. We put the PPPC in government. Prohibitions, forest they close. 7,000 workers now taking blows. Rice farmers, the same thing they did to you. They promised 9,000, you're getting 2. Don't let them fool you like they did before. Don't listen to empty promises no more. Young people have no jobs, they're punishing. Even APNU supporters now suffering. From Chadi Dragon Airport, they thief money. Scandals galore, skullduggery. And if you're not a friend or family, you can only get a job if you're PNC. On election day, turn out in strength. We put the PPPC in government.
All over the country, where we go, from one end of the country to the other, it's the same old story. Thousands and thousands of people are coming out now, in fact tens of thousands. People are fed up with the PMC.
Absolutely, September 18th is tomorrow, and across the country, people are fed up with the PNC, APNU, Mr. Granger. Mr. Granger yesterday in a pathetic speech to the nation, address to the nation, spent a few minutes distorting our constitution, basically telling the nation a bundle of lies that GCOM is more powerful than the constitution. And he has put confusion in GCOM's scenario where their meeting cannot make a decision. The chief of GCOM, the chairperson, Ms. Pata Singh, seems to be lost. The staff is bamboozling around her and can't produce a timeline that is within the Constitution time frame. Mr. Granger has created that confusion with his distortion of the Constitution yesterday in address to the nation. Very pathetic for a man that wants to call himself the president. And he knows, and I've said it many times, he moved from a caretaker president to caretaker president to undertaker president. And tomorrow, September 18th, and after that, midnight tomorrow night, the first time in history, Guyana goes into a constitutional crisis. And no way Mr. Granger can hide behind a constitution that he fails to uphold. And the fact that GCOM is not more powerful than the constitution. And Justice Pata Singh needs to understand that herself. She swore that the constitution will prevail. Mr. Granger has distorted it and now confuse her and is hiding behind GCOM once again. But the constitutional crisis starts tomorrow night, midnight. Mr. Granger and his government no longer exists. I think he holds the title, whatever we want to call him the Undertaker President until we have an election, but no spending of money, no ministers going out there telling us any policy, any cabinet meetings. The international community is on stick now to make a decision. Do they support an undemocratic government, a government that is illegal? Do they stand up for democracy? Well, we, the people, come September 19th, will stand up. We will be out there telling the world we believe in democracy. We believe in the rule of law. We don't believe in the Undertaker President, and we should never allow dictatorship again in our country. And Mr. Granger, pathetic Mr. Granger, distorts our Constitution and gets out there and addresses the nation. Looks very pathetic, Mr. Granger. And what is sad today, I saw a young gentleman laying on a bed in the Georgetown Public Hospital begging for money to go overseas to be treated. He has the exact same cancer as Mr. Granger. He is laying in the public hospital, a medical student, young gentleman, begging for people to help him get money so he can go get treated. Can't walk, is bedridden. And Mr. Granger uses our taxpayers' money to go to Cuba to get treated for the same disease. That young student in the public hospital is crying out in pain. And Mr. Granger can't even say, well, you know what, to the nation, I use your taxpayers' money. Do you mind if I spend money on this young gentleman and get him out there to Cuba, see if he can be treated so he can have a better life? He has a longer life to live than you, Mr. Granger. Yet you, with your single vote, voted against our specialty hospital. This young man is begging for his life. So your unpathetic speech to the nation, you're hiding behind the Constitution, your infiltration of GCOM, and having the staff giving all kinds of data, delaying meetings today, and the justice in charge of GCOM seems to be one of the weakest leaders that we were wrong about, because she cannot make a decision. They're saying what they want, and she sits back there, from what we have heard in reports, and saying nothing. That's not her job. When Guyana goes into a constitutional crisis, September 19th, we the people is the only forum left to be able to stand up for democracy. Mr. Granger doesn't respect this flag. Looking at the screen, our Guyana flag, a beautiful national pride, where we have a sense of duty. We have a patriotic right for voting. We have a right to get an election. We have a right to vote for the president we want, as I have on my side here, Irfan Ali. We want the chance to have an election. Mr. Granger got to stop it. He is very unpatriotic for a man that served in the military of Guyana, that understands the Constitution, and for him to lie to us that GCOM is more powerful than the Constitution. Ladies and gentlemen, my brothers and sisters, we've got a pathetic caretaker, Undertaker President. We've got to stand up and get him out of here, get him to call elections, and hopefully he listens to this program and go over to Georgetown Public Hospital and get that young gentleman to a plane to Cuba so he can get treated for the same disease you have, Mr. Granger. Exactly. And he's a young gentleman deserving to live. Had you not canceled our specialty hospital, that man would have a chance. Your single vote in Parliament, your 33rd vote in Parliament in 2012, 2011, voted against the specialty hospital. That young gentleman, I hope, if you're listening to the program, look it up. And if we can help him get some money to get out of here, but hopefully Mr. Granger have a heart. We paid his fees to go to Cuba. We paid his airfare. We paid for his wife to go. We paid for his accommodation. and hopefully he can use our taxpayers' money in the right way and help this young gentleman. But we've got a crisis brewing on us on September 19, when you have a president that cannot function, his cabinet cannot function, and he cannot hide behind GCOM anymore, because the Constitution is extremely clear. Unless something happens tomorrow, Mr. Granger, and you wake up from your stupidity and your pathetic lies to the nation and call an election, you become unconstitutional come midnight tomorrow night, and we will stand up. You go in and speak to the business community on Thursday. I hope you don't even get a chance to get in there, because I will be out there telling you we don't want to hear from you. You have done nothing for our nation. You have buried our economy. You have buried our democracy. And it's time for you to call elections. And it's time for you to stop hiding behind GCOM and not to confuse them anymore. You have given them more power than they know that they should have. And our commissioners are very clear that we cannot have an unconstitutional government come September 19. And the international community, the people of Guyana, especially the people of Guyana, we the people are the only ones really that can stop Mr. Granger and his dictatorship. We the people are the only ones can stop his dictatorship. You know, when you see oil announcement this week, did any of you get excited that the oil company out of London found more oil? Did any of you get excited that, wow, we found more oil? When you know Mr. Granger signed away our resources at 1% to Tullow Oil, were you excited when they announced that second round of oil? No. Are we going to benefit? No. Is Mr. Granger giving away our concessions to companies from Trinidad, United Kingdom, United States, giving away our concessions? Yes. Is he helping our local businesses to compete? No. Is he allowing employment to come to our country? No. Mr. Granger has sold out our nation. You know, when one senior government official in Scotland last week, representing the Guyana government, announced in Scotland, where they had the oil conference, that a company was about to announce an oil fine. Well, we have reported that to the Security Exchange. Well, I know of some individuals that have reported that to the Security Exchange in London. That could be insider trading. Are they benefiting? Is government officials benefiting from the fact that they knew a second oil fine? Did any of them buy shares in the oil companies? We've got to check that out. So you wonder why you would give away a 1% deal to an oil company when you know they're going to strike oil, and you know you could go buy shares, and tomorrow shares goes up by $5, $10. You put $10,000 in, you could make $50,000 in one day. Did any of our government officials buy stock because they knew that oil company and because they gave them a sweetheart deal? Come on, folks. Don't you believe we should take away that sweetheart deal from those oil companies that gets 1%, give us 1% of royalties, our resources? What use is this Guyana flag next to me? Where is our sense of pride and national duty? Where is our patriotism? Where is our commitment to our country? We cannot give away our resources, and Mr. Granger got to stop this nonsense. Stop it, Mr. Granger. Why we have selected young Mr. Arafat Ali to be our presidential candidate and will lead this nation in the next decade. I believe he's going to produce one of the best plans that you already see coming out. You hear him talk about no new taxes. You hear him talk about looking at our sectors and how we move Guyana forward, how we rebuild our nation, how we build it together across the political divide, across the racial divide, across the religious divide, coming together, building a nation together. That's Mr. Ali's premise on his manifesto that he is outlining in components and will be released completely in a few weeks. Compared to a pathetic man of Mr. Granger that gives away our land, gives away our resources, hide behind GCOM, lies to us, to the nation, with about our Constitution and the right for us to have election, disobeys the law of our land. You know, I saw the former Speaker of the House, Mr. Ralph Ramsaroop, describes the constitutional crisis. The fact that there's no way after September 18th, Mr. Granger is there legally. You know, the Constitution has probably a loophole that says, you know, you cannot have a president, but we don't know what other unconstitutional things will come about after September 18th. I know the courts will be busy. And the fact is, we the people must be busy. We've got to tell Mr. Granger to get out. If you can't call elections, then get out. If you're afraid of elections, get out. But why are you afraid of elections? Because you know you're giving away our resources. Maybe a lot of people are benefiting. As I mentioned, the Security Exchange Commission ought to be looking at people that knew that the oil find was coming to Guyana and was announced before officially that was announced. That's insider trading. You've seen a lot of people go to jail for those type of things. We've got to now look and see, did companies get 1% in order for other people to benefit, maybe legally, by buying shares in those companies? Those things need to be investigated. We've got a nation that is in a constitutional crisis. I hope Mr. Granger wakes up on the 18th of December before midnight tomorrow night and realize, as a man that swore to uphold our Constitution, that he calls election, that he gets the, I can't use the term, I'll just say courage, maybe a little courage, Mr. Granger. You have shown no courage over the 4 years. You know, I read something this week that you were the author of the National Service, the Militia Service, politicizing the Army. Mr. Hoyt became president and did not give you the head of the Army. You were the senior officer. He bypassed you and gave it to Joe Singh, a junior officer to you, and promoted the man to 2 stars. Are you upset that you never got picked as GCOM chairman when your name was nominated? I don't know what is going on in your head, Mr. Granger, but please go to Georgetown Public Hospital and help that young gentleman that have the same cancer that you have and get him to Cuba. Those are the things you should be paying attention to our people. What are you doing for our country? What are you going to tell the business community come on the 19th? You should not even be there representing the president. The business community should not be even accepting you. And we, including myself, and I hope others join us. I saw civil society said that they're going to be protesting at the Pegasus Hotel at 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock on the 19th. I'm going to be there. And I know a lot of you will want to join me and join us as we tell Mr. Granger to get out, call elections. It's time you go. You're not authorized to govern our nation. Your cabinet is not authorized to govern our nation unless tomorrow you have the courage to follow the Constitution. The GCOM chair needs to understand whatever conversation you're having with Mr. Granger, he's making you look bad to Justice Singh, because we are now seeing your weakness, the inability to lead, the inability to make decisions. That's your job. You can have multiple presentations coming from many different sources. As a CEO, I've had many times where people bring ideas and presentation and recommendations. Sometimes it comes down to how you put the data together and base your decisions on data. What is the best decision for the nation? How do you make that decision, Justice Singh, to recommend to the President the date? But he's telling you, you've got a right to do whatever you want. Whenever you want to tell him, you tell him. You and him are going to disappear a Constitution after tomorrow. We've got to move on. We've got to get our nation back on the road to democracy. And it's time for all of us to join together, come together. This has been a special edition for you to know what's going on in our nation. September 18th tomorrow, September 19th, this government becomes unconstitutional. If you respect our flag, you believe in national pride and patriotism, you believe in our Constitution, you believe in the rule of law, you believe in democracy, stand up for your right. Join us to tell Mr. Granger to get out and call elections. Thank you for joining me. God bless you.
Guyanese, beware of APNU. We're the AFC and Agamutu. Our constitution is in jeopardy. They're holding us to power for the oil money. Now after 4 years of incompetence, Bharat moved the vote of
Mr. Rajkumar, no.
But if you put them at their morning,
yes,
Guyana will be worse than 92.